Good afternoon. My name is Kerry Johnson. I'm here with Hubert Johnson, my father. We're at his home here, and we are going to ask him a few questions on how he lived here in Jordantown. He is part of the Jordantown, Occasional Conway community in Southwest Nova Scotia, and I'm just going to have a few questions with him and find out what his life's all about, and yeah, we'll start from there. Can you start off telling us where you were born?
Oh, I born right across the road, right on the other side of the street here, inside across the road. That's where I was born, and of course, my parents own both sides of this road, so that's why I'm over here. Yeah, to start with.
Okay. What was growing up here in Jordantown? What was it like when you were age? And we're talking back in the 30, 40, 50s area, but what was it like when you were growing up here? We
didn't have indoor toilets. Start with that. That's how far back, you know. And of course, when we were a close knit community, really. And of course, I should say, just struggle from day to day, because at that time work wasn't plentiful, and mostly the work that was available was farming. And of course, we all, don't matter what age it was, as long as we were big enough to leave home to go to work, we went to these farms and picked strawberries or all the fruit and vegetables that need to be, that they was putting together to take elsewhere to sell. So therefore, we would try to go out and make a few cents to keep us going, which wasn't much that we needed, but still $1 a week was good. And that, you know, that helped us buy things that our parents couldn't afford to buy, because they were on very low wages as well. Yeah. Well, teenager. Oh, I remember. I remember as a teenager, all us boys at that time would get together, more like we were about 7 or 8, and I hate to brag on this, or I shouldn't say brag. However, I remember I was in charge of this group, used them as a military. We were improvising, no, I shouldn't say, imitating Navy guys. And there's about seven or 8, maybe more, boys. And I put strawberry boxes on top, each one of the head, and 2 sticks in everybody's hand, and we would march from the corner of up there by the farm, that's in Occasional Road, right on down through here to Marshalltown Road, back and forth every day, all summer, beating on sticks when we weren't working on farms. That's what we used to do for our entertainment. And then on Sundays, of course, we used to go to Western shows in Digby there, and there always was Western movies on. And the next day, we would get together up in the field, back in the field, and make believe we were reminiscing what was taking place, and we were making believe we were one of those cowboys, or you know, we were acting as much as we could of the fisher. And we'd done that for years. Well, I won't say years, but 5 or 6 years, until we got old enough that we broke up, sort of thing. But that's back in my teenage time. And of course, not only the boys, the girls too. Rita was a girl then. That group, they had their group going ahead and by Edith, and they used to. Well, they didn't march up and down. They would hold clubs and do different things, play games and skip ropes and things like that. But they too were trying to follow us as a boy group and a girl group, and that's the way it was. We just playing and enjoying ourselves, because we weren't allowed in Digby, the town. We weren't allowed in there. That was a tough place.
Okay.
Anyway, we done all our playing right here in Jordantown, mostly from I say Occasional Hill up there, road, Gillett now they call it, farm, but that used to be Will Long's farm. We used to play from there down to Jefferson Farm. That's on top of the hill here.
Oh, wow.
That was our territory.
You joined the military.
Oh,
What can you tell us about that?
yeah. Well,
When did you join? How old were you when you joined?
I'll back up a bit. When I was in the reserve militia, and and I used to go to these Tuesday night training.
Right.
And I was 17 then, and I was in that for 2 years, and I liked what I seen with people in uniforms, and I'm going by one person, George Barton,
Right.
Buster Barton.
Yeah.
He was in the Second World War. When he came home in a uniform, and I seen that. I said, boy, wouldn't I love to be able to do that. So when time came, 1950, the Korean War broke out, and I was in Aldershot. I was working up there in Aldershot as a call out.
Okay,
Working in the kitchen as a call out.
Okay.
That'll bring me to what my trade was. Anyway, I went over to the hall where they were recruiting and taking information of who wants to join the service. So I said, yeah, I would like to. And he said, well, the service is for 18 months. I said, oh, that's good. You mean to tell me I can stay in it? Yeah. So anyway, I signed up. Then when I was finished with the militia, I had to cancel out of that and went into 1 PD Halifax and write the test.
Right.
So when I wrote the test, and got ready to become a regular soldier, I was still with the militia, and I had to wait till October to take all the gear that I got from them, to take it back, the militia gear.
Right.
Then I could go on with the military. So in October, when I took all the gear back, they had changed the rules. I had to sign up now for 3 years. And I said, no, I would like that 18 months. I better give me a chance to think about it. So I come back home, back here, and this was just before Christmas, November, December, and I realized I didn't have any money to buy Christmas gifts or do any kind of Christmas shopping. So I went to, Vernon Rice had a store down here, and he owned wood back in Shelburne Road. And myself and Gordon Francis and guy Wiggy.
Reg Cromwell.
We took our saws, buck saws, and axe, and went back and cut cordwood, cut firewood and put it up in cord 4 feet by 4 feet long and 4 feet high, 8 feet long. And when we got a cord, we got $4, and that's how we worked. Then that was up to Christmas. After Christmas, I said, well, I'm going to go and see if I can get a job in a lumber mill. So I went. Hubert Wilson, he was married to my aunt.
Right.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
He gave me a job in the mill, in the lumber mill, and two of us, Philip Crumble and myself. So in that lumber mill, we were tallying the lumber as it comes down, finished lumber, and cut the lengths that we have put on, and then from there all the Asians that would come down the same track, and we cut them up for firewood, and they go out and shoot. So we were working 10 hours a day, including Saturdays. And I think we was only making $1.25 a day then. And I said, this is no good for me. I can't handle this, I said. I couldn't see a life in it. And when I used to come home, I was so tired, I'd just go to bed. And that was too much. So I'd done that for 1 month, from January to February. February, I went to Halifax, and I went into the personnel depot. And I said, listen, I can reconsider. I want to join your army, and I want to do the 3 years. And they said, okay. They looked up my file and that, and next thing I know, I was on a train heading for Ontario, because the career officer asked me what I wanted to be. I said, well, I'll tell you, I was doing summer camp for the last 2 years, and I said it always was in the kitchen. I said the cooks in there impressed me how easy it was to work in the kitchen, to do cooking and that. And I said, that's what I want to be. So off the board and I went. I done the course, and when I finished my soldier training first with the weapons and all that, I took my cook's course, and during that cook's course, I really done well for the fact that I had background experience previous to those that didn't have any. So I was more or less way back at that time a leader in that cook's group back at that time, because I had all kinds of a practical experience.
Right.
And anyway, so from there, I went from there to Korea. I'd done a year in Korea, and with the engineers. And by being with the engineers, in fact, I was in engineers in Korea, Germany, and up north. This would give me the talent to build this very house right here. Put it all together, right from outside in. Yeah.
You mentioned that you were in Korea, and when you came back from Korea, did you do your 3 years?
Pardon me?
Did you do your 3 years in Korea? I mean,
No.
within the army, or
no? You
what
do.
happened
You
after
do.
came
You do
back?
Korea. You do. Korea was gone for 12 months. Then when I come back from Korea, I got posted to. I had a 60-day leave, and on finishing that, I got posted to Halifax,
Right.
over in the Eastern Passage.
Right.
We had the detention barracks over there,
Okay.
and I went over there as the cook, and cook on my own. And next thing you know, I was wearing 2 stripes, and I said, well, there.
Yeah.
And I was there for, quite a few years, because after Reed and I got married 6 months from the time we
1953.
before I come home. Yeah.
And I sort of told a story about that. The fact that I was born in Digby, however, you were living in Eastern Passage at the time, and Mom came back here,
Yeah.
so she could have me.
Yeah.
So that I got Digby written on my birth certificate, but never lived there at the time.
All 3 born in Digby.
Yeah.
Carrot Marvin and Celia.
While you were
yourself.
serving in Eastern Passage.
While I was serving the Eastern Passage.
So you made
Yeah.
sure to all of us. Yeah, that's a new one
Yeah.
on me. I didn't know that one.
Oh yeah, because this is our hometown. This was
Yes,
our
certainly.
the greeter want to be home, right?
So that was Korea. That was your start, your beginning, and you got to Eastern Passage. Okay, so tell us about once you left Eastern Passage. Where did you go?
Gagetown.
Okay.
Well, into Halifax and Gagetown,
Okay.
because I went over to 1 PD, then right on into Gagetown,
Okay.
and that's when you guys all moved over
Yeah.
there after we got a place to live.
Okay.
Yeah.
And who would you work with in Gagetown? What unit were you with?
Oh, in Gagetown, I was headquarters to start with, and then I ended up with Black Watch with the engineers. Oh, this moved me around.
Okay.
But headquarters was the first. Yeah.
And then beyond Gagetown, because I know there's a short stint there. Where'd you go beyond that?
Germany.
2 spots in Germany, I believe.
Hey?
We were in 2 spots in Germany.
Oh, yeah, we went into Germany. Then we went, Hamer was the first one.
Right.
And then Virl was the second, down in Virl, with the engineers. I'd done Hamer with the RCHA for 18 months, and I've done the other 18 months with the engineers.
Okay.
And of course, like I said, being with the engineers, I learned something besides cooking.
Learn how to put a house together.
Yeah, learn how to put a house
Yeah, put
together,
structure together. No,
Yeah.
I worked a little bit with the engineers as well when I was
Yeah.
younger. But
Yeah.
After Gagetown, I think during Gagetown, you did one tour overseas,
You mean overseas?
a UN tour.
Oh, yeah, well, UN tour Korea was a UN tour.
Yes. Yes.
Korea.
Forget that, yeah.
Yeah.
That was a war, though.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but we were wearing
Yeah.
blue beret.
Right.
However, from there, I went to Egypt.
Okay.
Yeah, I went to Egypt. I forget now. I was there twice.
67, I believe.
I believe it was 67. I was I went to Egypt. Done a year there,
Right.
down in Rafah.
Okay.
That's on, yeah. And of course, being there, I had an opportunity to go down to Sharm el Sheikh, and where else? Oh, through Israel and all them places for touring and
Right.
stuff like that. Then the second time I went down, it was 71, I believe.
Yeah.
And we've done 6 months there the second time because of the fact that we were just in Cairo.
Right.
We stayed in Cairo. Yeah.
You were promoted pretty quickly. You mentioned that you were giving your corporals when you were doing your trades training in Borden.
Oh yeah.
And I can remember in '65 you were a sergeant.
Yeah.
And then it seems like you were a sergeant forever.
Yeah, I got sergeant by coming back to Aldershot. I was there for a summer camp.
Right.
But no, I mean for a summer tour.
Right.
To work there for the summer, and so they made me sergeant there. Then I went to Borden as a sergeant.
Right.
And when I got to Borden as the sergeant, I went to the instructing school, and therefore I was there less than a year. I got promoted to a warrant officer,
Right.
and from warrant officer to WO2.
Yeah. And there's a story behind that because you went from sergeant and all of a sudden you're a warrant officer, master warrant officer, and
chief warrant officer.
and
Yeah.
climb in rank really quickly.
Yeah.
But you told a story once about the heating something outside or in the field. You did something in the field.
Oh yeah, improvising cookery.
Right.
That was my teaching all how to, if something happened where disasters, if you lose a town or city, whatever, you gather up the bricks and you make these stuck type of stoves to cook with. In other words, just a kind of a trench type stove, and you put all your pots on them. And of course, at the end, you put like a oil barrel, fill it full of water. That heats your water, so you have hot water at the same time.
Right.
And you make, of course, there's a whole lot. I won't go through it all because there's a lot involved there.
Right.
Because of the fact that you need hot water. And what we used to do with some of the drums is put a long pipe right down to the bottom, just about 6 inches off the bottom, and put a funnel on it. And we put a tap on it, just about 3/4 up.
Right.
A tap on the
Right.
side. And if you wanted, when you got up and wanted to wash your face and shave, you take a basin of cold water, dump it in that funnel, hold your basin there and catch the hot water, and go about your business.
So this sort of projected you into getting promotions with this type of things that you were doing in the
yeah,
field.
oh yes, I've done a lot of improvisation in the field. Everything was improvising. Of course, it was good for the my supervisors. They've seen all that, and that's my reason was I was advancing so fast in promotions because of the fact that they seemed to have confidence in me and things that they give me a task to do. I would try to improve it much as I can and present it, and
Right.
usually always 100% to them.
Right.
Yeah.
And and following Gagetown, like you said, you got promoted to chief warrant officer.
Yeah.
Shortly after that, and you did 6 months in Alert.
In Alert.
And then from there you went to Edmonton, but you retired after that. And during the time,
I need to go from when I left Alert. I come down here to Cornwallis.
Right, from Cornwallis. Then you went to Edmonton, and that's where you retired.
Retired from Edmonton. Right. Yeah.
Prior to that retirement, you worked in the community in 1970 through to 1976 when you left.
Yeah.
Can you tell a little bit about that? What you did in the community?
Oh, in the community to start with, I volunteered with the youth group. Remember you were part of it. Yeah. You had 56 kids. And they were very active kids, wanted to do something, and they were good. I say kids, but they were good people. They never smoked, they never drank, they never done anything. And I said, I got to get involved and be the chaperone. So myself and Evelyn, Imogene, and Doug, we mostly done the chaperone for those groups. So during that time, I was still working in the community doing harvest suppers. So I would use a teenager for involvement into that to serve meals, wash dishes, and do all kinds of domestic work that young kids could do, because they were there. Like I said, they were 13 to 18, so they were quite smart and wanted to do things. Many things we've done over the time with the youth group, and we call them AYCO.
Right.
Yeah. And it was
in 1973, we formed the first community group here, the Cageville-Conway Betterment Association, which we call Jordantown Cageville-Conway Betterment Association. Can you tell us who started that and how that started?
Well, Sam Bainey. He was a social worker, come out of Halifax, came down here in Digby.
Yeah, he was human rights person, wasn't he?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, social service.
Yes.
And of course, he motivated the communities to put a community garden together and do other things. Yeah. So one night I said, I was still in the military. I said, I'm going out to the hall and hear what's going on. So when, of course, being there and listening, when it was all over, before it was all over, we talked about, they're talking about trying to get a group going, besides making gardens and stuff like that, do something useful in the community. So I got onto that and helped them to set that up and get things, get more or less, get our organization going, which we call the Cageville-Conway Betterment Association.
Right.
And the purpose for that is to help the people in need, help them to find jobs, help them to do things that they never had an opportunity to do before. So, and so our Betterment got going. Then when I come out of the military, I stayed with the Betterment, and I think we run that Betterment right up for 10, 11 years. I was strictly in that Betterment, doing everything I could possibly could while I was still in Nova Scotia, or in Digby. Right. Yeah.
And I know we sort of glossed over it, but when you became the Chief Warrant Officer in the Canadian Forces, you were one of the first first black Chief Chief Warrant Officer in Canadian Forces. I was the first black
military person in the Canadian Forces, and I was quite fortunate because it never happened before. Mm-hmm. And with all the black people that we had in the military, I was the first. I couldn't believe it, but it happened.
And at the same time, you were working in Cornwallis, and you went there as a chief. You were also decorated again one more time. I mean, you have several medals, but the Military Merit Award had came out in July 1973, and you were one of the first recipients of that as well.
Yes, exactly. Now, the reason I got that is because the way they wrote it up, that the things that I was doing was over and above the military duties. In other words, I was involved in community work, and I think the whole thing started off when one time I walked into a meeting on the base, and I was telling them about we don't have a what do they call them guys in Digby here? Running.
Town hall?
No, running, the mayor.
Oh, the mayor.
I said, we don't have a mayor, so they quit. He quit, and we don't have no leaders. Nobody knows what they're doing, in a sense, I said. And I said, and we got our school full of kids. There must be about 100 black kids going into Digby. I said, but there's nobody there to protect them in that. And that's what I was feeding to the CO. However, when they wrote up the thing there, that was part of the,
Presentation for your military
I said,
awards.
gee, I don't know, maybe I'm talking too much. But I enjoyed what I was doing. I enjoyed cooking. I enjoyed working in the community. I enjoyed working at the church, putting those church up and raising money for them. I've done that for 24 years. 18 years after I come out of the military.
Right.
First 6 before I went in. And I done other things. Volunteered for working in the Legion.
Right.
Well, you were there then, yeah. But then when Rita had to go to take dialysis, I had to drop everything, and which I did, and put my effort into looking after her. Yeah.
Okay. You know the community center is coming here.
Yeah.
It's the first thing that we have here in our community that's going to be a staple building.
Yeah.
Looking back over the years, what do you see as you think about the future with the community center coming here? What do you see this community becoming?
Well, I'm trying to envision Yarmouth. Yarmouth has a community center built in their community,
Right.
and a lot more people come out. A lot of people got involved. They got in many things in Yarmouth, and I can see the same thing happen in Digby in ours here. I can see people volunteered to do something and do something worthwhile. Now Yarmouth, I noticed they had classes. They have this. They have the other thing, and even cooks put on funds or raise money for fun, and that's hope. I'm hoping if I'm still alive and still doing, that's what I want to do. The first one here for you guys out there, just raise some money, and of course, like I said, try to get things in kind if you can't get it in dollars, but that would be up to the guys that you hired for that. I hope that he would go around and try. What I'm saying in kind, like bulldozers and backhoes and whatever else you can get from these contractors that's going to do the job. Get some in kind from them as well,
I'm sure you're going to be around for that. We're going to have harvest suppers in there as well, and we're going to have a 250-seat place, so I think you'll be able to do that.
Yeah, we'll do that, because it doesn't matter about the number, as long as I have the bodies, due to the fact that at my age, I'm not as strong as I used to be, but I can teach,
Right.
and I can show, I can direct,
Yeah.
I can do all that. Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah,
One more question.
yeah.
If you had to speak to young kids today, what would you want to tell them? What would you want to say to them to inspire them?
Well, first of all, education. You got to have education. I mean, that was my hard luck, because I only had grade 7 here, went in the military, and being in these isolated postings, I took up correspondence. I went through my officer and that, and the government. So they helped me right up through the grade 11. I was going further than that, but I was left from where I was going. I was going to still taking that course in Borden. Then when I moved to here to Digby, no more.
Okay.
Yeah, but that helped me. That helped me a lot in my job and my promotions.
Right.
And that's so education is the primary thing that you must complete. I'm not saying you have to go to college and university unless you can, if that's what you need, what you want. But at least get high school. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.